I swear on everything that I hold dear that when I see the negative comments, which I get every single day, and I read comments because that's how I do research.
Of course, yeah.
I genuinely sit there and I'm like, I feel so bad.
Right.
It is as foreign to me as to commit murder right now. I'm being dead serious right now. The thought of killing another human is as foreign to me as going to somebody's social media profile, consuming their content, and then leaving something negative.
Hello.
Jamie.
Hi, yes.
This is Gary Vaynerchuk, and you're on with Lilly.
Hey.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Crying is good.
Sure, cry but speak too.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Okay, I'm pulling out my vlog camera. Lily, hi.
Hi.
So I am 25 years old. I'm a dancer in Miami.
Okay.
I have watched all of your videos, all of your vlogs, and like you spoke about your depression, like not depression, but the funk that you went through and the break that you took.
Yeah.
And I watched and kind of lived all of that with you because like that's the same exact thing that I've been going through. So I understood like through your videos that you were dealing with burnout. So I'm 25 now, and I've owned a gym and a dance studio here in Miami since I was 19. So
Awesome.
I currently just feel burnt out. So I guess my question is like, how do you overcome that? And like, I just feel stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. So I took a social media break at the end of last year, and there's a lot of things that helped me, but one thing in particular that I found so helpful was redefining how I define self-care, basically. I think previously in my life, I used to work so tremendously hard and so relentlessly hard. As you know, if you watched all of my videos, you know there's a lot of them. I used to work so tremendously hard, and my idea of a break would be once a year, I'd go to a resort and get drunk and eat a lot of food and then go back to my life and then work relentlessly hard.
Sounds amazing.
So that does sound amazing, but it's not sustainable. I've learned that self-care is
nothing is sustainable.
You're correct.
Lily?
Well, actually, no, I don't know.
Let me rephrase. Like what? Keep going. I'm going to let you finish because I have one thing to add.
But what I've learned is that, for me, self-care is small things every day. Really, it's about 10 minutes of meditation I do every day. It's about writing my diary if I feel clouded. It's about going on a walk if I need to. And that actually makes me work smarter and work better than when I'm working from morning to night nonstop. I actually get a lot more done when I'm a happy, healthy person because I've dedicated 20 minutes of my day to just being a human, if that makes any sense.
And Jamie, to add to that, what is not sustainable is micro tactics. So, I already have friends that are on the other side of meditation. Like it's just an emerging thing. And I've already gotten hundreds of DMs and texts and emails and conversations around, hey, I've been doing it for 3 years and it's worn out its value, which is actually where I want to take this to the little micro conversation Lily and I just had. Nothing sustainable. Wait a minute. Yes, it is. I think something that you need to give a lot of thought to is judgment. So one of the things that, and even by your reaction, it excites me. I'm super passionate about judgment. A, the way we judge ourselves. B, the way we allow other people's judgments to become a variable in our lives. When I think about the only sustainable thing that I have in me, and I give a huge shout out to Tom Bellew when he was on my podcast and actually giving this to me because I was living it. I just didn't put words to it. My ability to not judge myself, which then leads me to not judging others, has been the greatest gift of my life and is the only sustainable thing I have. Through all my twists and turns, my friend, for you to be at 25 and already have this much accomplishment under your belt,
for sure.
I'm
gonna cry. Oh my God, I can't.
I really need you to see this, and it makes me happy that we're having this micro talk. Like, brother, listen, like you've done, like you're beating yourself up or allowing somebody else to beat you up when you've already.
Can I add in?
You can add a whole lot.
So I think that you just kind of hit the nail on the coffin with me, Gary. So like judgment is a really big thing, which is why I've always been attracted to Lily because she's never been afraid to be herself, which has gotten her where she is today, which is launching her. It's amazing. So like I'm here in Miami. I'm a 6'3" black man that dances for a living. So people come up to me every single day and ask me if I'm an athlete. And then I have to say, no, I'm a dancer. So like even within myself, I'm so afraid of my own craft and being judged. And even things like opening up a YouTube channel, I've been so afraid of my own judgment and then people's judgment. Jamie,
sense,
but that's definitely the answer.
And let's stay on this because this is going to be very valuable for This has the potential to be very, very valuable for a lot of people. So let's keep playing, the three of us.
Yep.
Couple things. I don't know Lilly well enough, but I was listening to a couple things. Lilly's serendipity of being an immigrant to a parent structure that I'm familiar with, and her having the DNA from a very young age to fight the system and be comfortable with the ramifications, similar to me, got us into a place where and being on an island and not looking for acceptance, but having conviction to the inner conversation led us to a lot of practice by the time we got older. So many of us, maybe you, maybe not, I'm just painting a picture here. So many people don't practice from 0 to 22 of being comfortable in no. They have their entire energy to chasing yes. To looking for acceptance from others. So what may be happening to you, when I hear that from you, where I go is like, okay, awesome. I'm so fucking happy how life works. We're going to stick on this moment. We're not going to the next call because all I want, Jamie, for you to understand is the following.
I'm going to cry.
Other people's judgment is such a tell to what's going on in their lives.
It's also something you can never control. Like, you will never be able to control it. So it's focusing on what's in your control as well.
Jamie, when I look at people hating other people, and this is not a joke, and this is not the most popular opinion, when I watch other people hate or overly judge or try to make, hate, I'm not going to racism. I'm even talking about being in a meeting, watching somebody roll their eyes so that person sees it to their idea, because they're trying to impose their sadness within them on somebody out. Misery loves company is something that I think right now, intuitively, needs a bigger platform and conversation in our society, because for some reason I really understand it. And so if you leave this call with nothing other than anybody that casts judgment on you, that you should deploy empathy and sympathy for them because they're dealing with their own shit,
100%.
can really change the diagram for you, my friend.
I also say that I've never met a happy, successful person that had something unnecessarily mean or bad to say about someone else. So I feel like when you are in a good place in your life, like I always think about this when I receive negative comments online. I mean, I've been doing it for so many years, but I still, people say you have thick skin. There'll be a comment or two that still gets you. Of course, we're all human.
Everybody.
But I always think about the fact that when I'm in a good place, I don't wake up and I don't have the desire to write mean things about people on the internet. And so really the type of person that is doing it is someone that is not happy and not in a good place. So I absolutely agree with your sentiment, Gary. And it also just goes back to control. For me, I know I can control my reaction to things. I can control my thought process. I will never be able to control someone else and what they think.
Lilly, I swear on everything that I hold dear that when I see the negative comments, which I get every single day, and I read comments because that's how I do research.
Of course, yeah.
I genuinely sit there and I'm like, I feel so bad. It is as foreign to me as to commit murder right now. I'm being dead serious right now. The thought of killing another human is as foreign to me as going to somebody's social media profile, consuming their content, and then leaving something negative.
I completely agree. That's why I just know that it's someone that's not in a good place.
Jamie, listen, let me tell you something about your youth. One thing I push a lot is perspective on time. You were going to live literally 3 more full lives. Everything you've done from the day you were born to right now, you're about to do 3 more times. Yeah, and it is really crazy, especially when you're ambitious and trying to create something and being in one of the 10 biggest cities where there's a lot of action going on. What's everybody else doing? If you contextualize that will help you so much as well. Because let me tell you what I believe. I believe for a lot of us for all different reasons, create a framework where we allow outside opinion to have a disproportionate impact on our lives. A disproportionate. And if we are born into anything that even looks remotely different than the norm, we immediately are on our back foot. Immigrant, gender, sex, preferences, skin tone. And by the way, let me say this. For the small group of white men that aren't immigrants that born in America, they have their insecurities too, because their mom tells them they're not as smart as their brother, not as fast. This human condition is for everyone. For everyone. Right? And so what you need to do off this call, and if you understood the math behind even being the person that we got to, right? By the way, Nikita could have answered it, brought up a great question, and we would have never gotten to you.
Absolutely.
Right?
No,
Jamie, you have to understand that what you have to start doing right now is getting quiet within your own head.
Oh my God, yes.
But Jamie, let me tell you one part that nobody talks about that might help you.
Right.
Part of the equation of getting quiet is also not getting too high when people say that you're brilliant.
Right.
One of the reasons I've noticed so much insecurity, I'm like, wait a minute, they take in that they're beautiful or they're fast or they throw the ball hard or they're clever or they're good at great. One of the things that, it's why this is so full circle. Why I think you're balanced is because you think you're going to be the biggest and you think you're no one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I understand that too. And that's no different than not getting too high when everybody says you're great.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of this too, and it comes down to not taking anything personally, whether it's positive or negative.
Correct.
Because you can't sit there and be like, oh, I'm not going to take negativity personally, but I'm going to accept all this praise. It really has to be from both ends. You know, when someone comes up to me, as many people do, and I'm sure, Gary, you have this a lot, people will come up to you and say, you changed my life. And I always say, I didn't.
Every day.
You did. You changed your life. Perhaps I was part of your world at that
You're
moment.
much better than I'm. Like, I'm completely the reason your life has changed.
You are the reason I have a late night show as well, so I agree. But it goes back to just not taking either of those things personally. And I know it sounds kind of absurd because you think you should be taking in positive energy, not negative. But I think you can't pick and choose, right? You can't take in someone's word of you being beautiful and not the negativity, you know?
Jamie, one other weird little thing.
Absolutely.
I think you should go and volunteer one day for a retirement home.
Wow, okay.
I'll tell you why. I feel like people that are in this position need massive perspective injects, right? We're having this awesome talk. You're going to take the high of this. You're going to build a little bit. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing that can help people more than going to somebody who they don't know, not your grandparent, and spending a day with people in their 90s and understanding how all the things of people rolling up on you in the Miami scene and casting judgment means jack shit. And that perspective is everything. You've got to start the process off this phone call to detach from judgment, both pro and con. That is the roundup.
Also, the last thing I'm going to say to you as someone who also dances, anyone that says you're not an athlete because you dance is wrong. Dance is so extreme.
No, of course.
It is amazing. So
of course.
Be proud of that. Be proud of that. As a fellow dancer, I just had to throw that in there.
Jamie, instead of letting you go and having this feel-good moment, what have you, like, I'm just really curious, like, what's running through your mind right now for real? Okay. More importantly, not the good, but the part that you're leaving when you hang up here, where you're like, but. I want to really know what's in your head as but, Jamie.
So can I say 3 things?
You can take 7.
Because these are the 3 things that are on my mind. So number 1, Lily, you said that to get out of your funk, you do something like take a vacation and you blah, blah, blah. So like I feel even worse because like I just did that. So like I'm trying to start a modeling career on top of the fitness business that I'm running in Miami. So I just went to Italy for 10 days to like clear my mind and vacation. But then you come back and you're like, oh wait, I still got all this to do and I got to figure out how I'm going to get it done. So like for me, I feel like I've done the vacation part. I've even like packed up all my stuff, moved to a different city because I was just over the fitness industry here, and I've come back and then people support me all the same. So like for me, I don't know how to get out of the funk because I've done the rest part of it, like the rest your mind part. Now it's just like, crap, how do I build a bigger business on top of this? Number 2, Gary, you said like quiet and like silence. Oh man, so like social media really drives me crazy because I watch your videos, Gary, and you say to post content. And for me, that is the hardest thing to do because I'm a personality, but like I hate to post on social media. Like even my social media
Jamie,
now.
you hate to post on social media because you overvalue the opinions. You're not in a mindset of creation. You're in a mindset of validation.
And speaking of validation, credit, I just came up with a thing called Disappearing December, which we'll talk about at the beginning.
No, but really, let's go back to that point real quick. Like literally, 99% of people online are in the mindset of validation. The reason I say post is I want you to be in a mindset of creation. I want you to do it for you. Jamie, you probably aren't watching my content enough to know that I reference 7 times a year that scene from Rocky IV where Drago loses to Rocky and he yells at the Soviet Union And all the people in the crowd, and he said, fuck you guys. This wasn't America versus the USSR. I was in this ring for me. And that's like what I want to inject a little Drago into everybody. I want you to post for you, not for the likes, not for the validation, for the mindset of creating and leaving your 2 cents on the world for you. The reason nobody wants to post is it's become one big game of insecurity.
Of course. It's true.
What's the third thing?
And then the third thing is just like, so Gary, I kind of jumped into you when I was 19 and 20 because I got sponsored by one of the biggest universities here in Miami. It's FIU. So like they built my very first gym for me at $120,000 at 19 years old.
Wow.
And it was the craziest experience. And like I've been dancing for the past 6 years and just doing what I love every day. But for me now, the business side, it's like, damn, I get burnt out so easily and so quickly when you realize, oh crap, no one's paying my bills. I'm the only one doing this. And like every move I make is my next paycheck, you know, and like growing this. So I guess these are all the thoughts that are just like, it's hard to feel stuck in like different areas of your life.
No,
you
this
know?
is great.
Like,
hey, Jamie, another thing. Listen,
and then,
listen, I talk about self-awareness over everything. That is my biggest religion. Brother, there is nothing wrong with you not being an entrepreneur and owner of this thing. If you know, I have had my family's livelihood, then I had to start from zero again because I built it for my family. There's I can go on, and I've never felt a fear of the next paycheck because I'm in my zone. If I had to read a script, if I had Lily's job, and I don't know how you're doing it, but if I had to read from a teleprompter tonight in front of 0 people, I would be so fucking scared because I can't read for shit, and it's an insecurity of mine. But if I have to go give an impromptu keynote right now in Madison Square Garden in front of 37,000 people, and I could talk about my shit, I would moonwalk to the garden right now. You might
You like that?
you just might not need to be an owner of a gym, which is amazing. And that's and by the way, let's really play this out because I'm fucking fully invested at this point.
I appreciate it.
And let me give you the piece that I think really matters because I think you kind of might know what I just said. And the part of closing the gym and having your auntie or your best friend or your neighbor or somebody that looked up to you that's doing well right now judge you means horseshit too. The amount of people that judge people that are doing from the sidelines makes me laugh. When you're judged for closing the gym because you're deploying self-awareness to happiness, and you get a comment of, oh, see, and maybe you put yourself out there. Maybe you made a video 3 years ago and said, I'm going to crush it and build the next gold gym. And maybe you kind of put yourself in that spot. It still doesn't matter because you're doing and living. It doesn't matter what they think of that.
No, for sure.
And just to go back to your first point, Jamie, I want to emphasize how you viewed that vacation line is exactly how I used to view it for many, many years of my life. What I highly recommend is that I'm saying you don't need to do that. I'm saying that take 10 minutes today after this call, even to just reflect, meditate, write. I'm saying is that if you're not having fun on the journey, it's like not worth it. And this is someone who's worked relentlessly hard. If you've watched my vlogs, you know this.
I know you have.
I believe in working hard even still, but the thing I believe in most is you have to be happy.
I love this woman so much. I couldn't believe in this more. Jamie, 99% of people just came back from summer vacation, and the first fucking day back, all the things that they thought they got went in the garbage by 9:48 p.m.
No, of course.
You know, and so like, I really, really, really think that it is a much more macro thing. This comes down to judgment. If there was nobody else on earth, everybody would be happy.
Amen.
I'm telling you, this is a judgment game. This is you worried about what people are going to think. Once I got to the final pieces of not even caring what my own parents thought, fully, it completely unlocked for me, and I was already ridiculously happy. You can't let judgment seep in. It is the poison.
And to that point, you know, you just said the parents line. A lot of times when we let go of those types of ideas, well, of course my parents have to judge me or my friends. Or when you let go of all of, then you get the judgment to yourself because you think, oh, that makes me a bad son or a bad daughter. You have to also not judge yourself in that regard. So it's just complete.
And let me give you a
judgment.
secret to all the kids out there who are struggling with not letting their parents down, because I get that all day long. Gary, you say you put all this pressure on the parenting dynamic. I always say to them, listen, net, and this is not a blanket statement, nothing can be a blanket statement, but I genuinely believe that every kid who decides to do what their parents want them to do versus what they want to do end up 30 years later, 26 years later, 41 years later in massive underlining subconscious resentment of their parents. And I would rather kids and parents have a shitty 3 to 5 years than have a life full of resentment and undertones and all that anxiety.
Correct.
And guess what happens out of that 3 to 5 years of bad? Somebody ends up being right. And you don't even need to have right. First of all, take it from two people. Parents get real proud when they're not sure, and then you do it.
For sure.
That's the ultimate for a parent. And more importantly, a lot of times kids lose too. There's a lot of kids that told their parents they were going to be the biggest rapper in the world, went to LA, and 9 years later are not the biggest rapper in the world, and they come back to Kansas, and they get a job in the family business or within the profession or something else, and guess what? Their parents are thrilled they're back home because they missed them. And guess what else? That next Eminem or next Jay-Z also feels good, or next Meg Thee Stallion, they also feel good because they gave it a fucking shot. And now that they're a carpenter or a businesswoman or whatever the hell they're doing, they don't have to live with regret. This is why we have to push this narrative, because it will lead to more happiness for everyone.
Agree.
Absolutely.
Jamie, how you feeling?
I'm like shaking. I have like a vlog camera in front of me because I'm like crying and I'm like wiping my tears.
Get that thumbnail, boo. Get that thumbnail.
Jamie, which person in your life's opinion do you value the most? Who do you think is really riding real mindset? Like when you think about your life and you think about when the gym opened, who you called, or whose validation do you genuinely believe you're anchoring to?
It's definitely mom. And I think, again, we're all immigrants. So like I was born in Jamaica and mom is now a doctor. So like mom learned very early, like Jamie's not going to be a doctor. Like I went to school for acting and dance. Like she immediately picked up on that. So I definitely think it's her validation, even though she's come to terms with like, hey, my kid is a performer. Like he's not following my line of work, you know? But again, I do want to make her proud and like somehow like, hey mom, like everything that I'm doing and like all this time I'm wasting in this industry it's not for nothing, you know?
Jamie, couple things on that, and I apologize for not letting you go, but I just feel like you're
ours now.
You're doing so much good for so many people right now, and I'm not going to let it go, even though I feel the stress of my team telling me I'm late and this and that. Jamie, listen to me. We have to change the narrative of artists or entrepreneurs or athletes or creative people or anybody who's willing to have any conviction of their own happiness, for that matter. You're not wasting your time. We have to put the process on a pedestal, not the results that come with it.
Absolutely.
I promise you this. There are a ton of mothers and fathers who are listening right now who are devastated that their kids went through a process of making them proud. They achieved everything. They got the degree, they got the business, they got the money, and now they're 48 and they just had dinner last week and they're completely broken. And and you can't put that judgment on yourself. Your mother and every mother and father deep down, even if they don't realize it, their number one proud moment is if their child is happy. If their child had enough conviction to make themselves happy. If you can get happy about the process of this versus whatever results this gym does, you will be in a much better happy place.
Oh man. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Agreed.
Where does your mom sit currently on this? Like she's scared and worried, disappointed, pumped, elated?
No, so like and again, I'll make it fast because I basically already went through the process of like closing the gym because I knew that it wasn't going to work. I moved away. I came back. And now what I've done is like infiltrated in other gyms so that I'm not paying a huge overhead and taking all my classes there. So mom is really proud because like I'm running things and I have more time on my hands. So mom is proud. Mom just wants to see me reach the level that she knows I can, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? You and mom have to have a conversation about that because that's an arbitrary number. That's a fake thing. That's like VaynerMedia when people are like, your creative needs to be better. I'm like, no. Your judgment on this video is the king and queen. Right. Like you have to have I'm telling you, Jamie, you have to have a conversation with your mom about that. Reaching your full potential or what you're capable of has to be on your happiness data. Right now, you're nowhere on that. I don't give a fuck how many classes you're doing in 97 gyms and your profit margin's better. It needs to be on being happy about your day-to-day.
Amen. Agreed. Yes, sir.
You know?
But I mean, it also sounds like, compared to a lot of situations other people are in, having a mom in this position is great.
Fucking amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. So
No,
I feel like you have
I-
all the pieces to make things pop off here. I agree. Have that conversation and don't do the but after this, as Gary mentioned.
Jamie, the key is knowing how to quantify ambition so it doesn't manifest in your own personal judgment and anxiety. I'm so uncomfortably ambitious, but I've got lucky and circumstantial to put it into a place that doesn't cast judgment. If in a world where I've been very successful business-wise in the last 20 years, but between the partnership with my dad and the partnership with my brother, I have nowhere close to the personal finances needed to achieve my professional goals of buying the New York Jets. At 43 years old, I sit here cool as a cucumber. So you can imagine why I push patience and lack of judgment on 25-year-olds.
Absolutely. Absolutely, sir.
Don't listen. Please change behavior past this. Please take this phone call as a moment in your life to change your behavior and recalibrate the conversation. The ambition needs to be waking up happy, not anything else.
Absolutely.